welcome back to Relentless Talk Radio. I'm here with Scottie Yang. This is the Video Lab. Today we're going to give you a blueprint to create a storyboard for your video for your business. I'm excited about this. I have to tell you, Scottie, you gave me a worksheet to work on, and it really made me think. And it really did. And we're going to do some more thinking. We're going to do some more thinking together because everybody knows me. I share my process outlined real time. So I just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the folks that are tuning in for the first time and tell everybody who you are.
Hey, yeah, I'm Scottie Yang, and I am a video producer and editor. And I just love telling stories for business, for narrative, whatever it may be. I really am a nerd for the process of all that. And I've built a very positive career out of doing that with many great experiences. And I think one great thing about us meeting Michelle and I is now I get to have a platform where I can kind of share some of those experiences and help a lot of smaller businesses and brands utilize some of the experiences that I have and do it on your own. You don't need to have a $15,000 camera to create video content for your business. You don't. And
it's a really good thing, or else I would have been shit out of luck, basically.
Right,
you know,
right.
Sure.
No, I mean, it's...
And also, you said two things that really spawned me. One, we met because I interviewed you on Relentless Talk Radio for your Heights Apparel brand. So you are a fashion designer, and behind you is all the great new stuff that you've gotten that is about to go out. Are those pants in the background?
Yeah, it's our new jeans that we have. It's been a little over a year developing jeans for tall guys, and we got them in about 2 weeks ago. I'm actually doing a photo shoot today. So
awesome. Make sure you tag me on it so I can share it.
Totally.
But we met because I was just telling. I tell stories about entrepreneurs, and when we were talking, we realized, wow, we have this storytelling thing in common. And I said, hey, would you want to maybe just talk about video, twice a month for the rest of the year? And you said, sure. So that's how the Video Lab was born.
Yeah.
And we're shooting it on Be Live, which is not, I loved it when you first got tuned into working on the Be Live videos. These are not fancy videos. These are not high resolution videos. This is not, movie quality video. This is a live video that is shot at really super duper low resolution so that it can actually air live on Facebook. So, and guess what? The message is getting out there.
Absolutely. And that's
the message is getting out there, right? So today we're talking about creating a blueprint for a storyboard for your business, right? So if you haven't been making video and you don't even get what blueprint and storyboard means, we're gonna get into that. So Scottie gave me some homework this week, and it really made me think. And I'm going to share one of my blueprints with you, one of my storyboards. I actually realized I have 6.
That's fine. No, and that's what this worksheet is designed for. It's not.
I think it was 6. Let me count.
Right. It is it's a tool to use for you to list out everything you need to build out a video story, right? So it can be multiple. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is for each element that is described in that worksheet is to list out everything, because those are individual content pieces that you can then make and use. And boom, there you go. That's your blueprint. So here's the thing. And this happens to me, and this is not just with making video. It's everything, right? You have
to revisit this whole concept yourself and been surprised what you found, because
oh my gosh,
you have your video maker hat, or your video producer hat on. You're one guy, but now you also have a different hat, literally, that you're wearing for Heights Apparel, and so it's made you think about creating video in a really different way, right?
It has definitely, well, it's always great, right? Because it's nice to never get stuck in your own routines. It's nice to kind of shake things up a little bit, learn from other people and what their process is, because you may not adopt all of it, but you might find tweaks here and there. They're like, oh man, I really like that. I'm going to try to implement that into my workflow. And I've done that my entire career, both creatively and on the technical aspects of my television post-production career.
It's funny that you say that, because I remember being in art history when my first degrees are in art, and being in art history class, and the professor saying, that there's no original stories. They're just stories that are repurposed. And, you know, when I was in my 20s, I was kind of bothered by that, you know? And then I thought, you know, as I look at Netflix last night, trying to find something interesting to look at.
Right.
Okay, can we just talk about action movies for just a second?
Yes.
If I never watch another action movie again, I'll be totally okay with it. Like, it's the same flipping story over and over again. It's not that I don't mind the action or I don't appreciate the fights, because I've come to appreciate the choreography that goes with the fights like it's a dance scene. But
yes,
my God, come up with a better story.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the John Wick series of films that stars Keanu Reeves is a great example of that.
Holy crap. That last one was just off. I'm sorry, Keanu.
People watch
New York City. I'm sorry. It sucked.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so what people love about that are the fight scenes, because the choreography in those action scenes are outstanding. You know, if you're a story critic, right? Like,
Right.
It leaves a little to the imagination, right? But that's not why people are tuning in. People want that action. They recognize that, so they're fulfilling that need, right? And it's really well done in terms of the martial arts choreography, the fight scene choreography, and all the action scenes,
100%.
the car crashes.
That one scene where they're in it's like a thin, narrow hallway, and they're all kicking the crap out of each other. 100%. But the whole movie is that. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Right. Exactly. From the get-go, it's fights, action, fights, gunfire, fights, action. And that's because they saw through the story, there's like, oh wow, they did the first one, like, holy cow, like it was a pretty good success. Well, this is something people want, right? So there's your need, there's your problem.
Right. So at the time we're talking about. So 100%. What's the problem? The problem is people want to be entertained, right?
Yeah. And so they're like, and now it's turned into this franchise that has probably been bigger than any studio had imagined, right? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's such a great example of how you can put it into real terms of what a niche problem is in any market.
You know what Wick, the whole storyline has turned into there, and this is what business owners need to really tune into as an example, is and it, as an artist, it's the same thing. The film has become wallpaper.
Yeah.
Wallpaper in art is stuff that you just don't even notice. If you really like take a look at wallpaper, there's a design element to it, but it's just on the wall. You don't even notice it. And you don't want your videos to become just wallpaper, like a John Wick film.
Right.
You want to be able to have a problem. And let's get into, you know, talking about how we didn't even think to even talk to mention this, quite frankly, when we were kind of putting together our notes for this segment. But really, John Wick is a really great example of what you don't want your business videos to turn into. Wallpaper.
Right. Exactly.
God bless them. They spent a lot of money on them, but they put me to sleep. They literally put me to sleep. I will fall asleep in a John Wick film. I literally, like a baby, like out. I swear to God, I fell asleep during the fight scenes. Like, that is not the intended effect of a fight. You want the fight scenes are supposed to excite you, not Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the purpose, right? Obviously, if you're creating as a business or brand, you're creating your content with the intention to make people aware of the business, the product or service, and then convert those folks into leads, sales, whatever it may be, with that intention, right? That's
so. What's a common problem that people usually want to solve?
Okay, well, I think first of all, it's about one, discovering what that problem. And if you're a business owner, you've probably spent some time delving in the early days of your business of, okay, I have an idea. What type of problem does it solve? That's like business 101. Check the box. You know, if you don't check that box, you're probably not on the right track with your idea, right? So you need to talk about, okay, what is the specific niche problem? That's one of the core elements of this blueprint, right? Is what's your niche problem? All right. So let's talk about problems. Okay. So what types of problems are out there, right? We got an innovation gap. So obviously an innovation gap is something you see big in the tech space, right? All these apps were created out of a specific problem that they saw in the marketplace. And I think one of the big things we see right now is with like meditation apps, right? A lot of folks with more awareness around mental health, and this also plays into one of the other problems in this category, but with mental health awareness being more at the forefront of our conversations, we've seen more tech companies start to create apps to help people learn to meditate and get better at it and coach you in those things. I've used a couple of them. Breathe is one of them that I've used, and it's super helpful, right? But see, they saw a problem. They saw that there's a lot of folks out there. Mental health is is becoming at the forefront of conversations in our country and in our culture. We need to help people be more comfortable and help coach them on meditation, because it's not easy. It takes practice. And so a lot of these companies have created these apps to help you and guide you in that meditation so you can become better at it and it becomes part of your routine. And that creates a more aware, less stress, lower anxiety, community. And so that's kind of one area where there's that innovation gap, right? Then obviously there's like typical, right? So say you're in a saturated marketplace, right? But there's maybe you think of an idea of a nuance to a specific product that's already out there, right? That will differentiate yourself from the rest of the marketplace. And that's what, where a product gap problem, you're solving that product gap problem, right? And then the last one is kind of what I've alluded to, is the cultural gap. Okay, cultural norms have prevented this product or service from existing, right? And so that's when I go back to that mental health awareness, right? And those meditation apps that help people guide through meditation so that it becomes into the daily fabric of their routine and they get better about it, and it has a positive result on their daily lives. So those are kind of like three areas of where niche problems are discovered. Okay. And then from there, that's where you are able to, once you're able to kind of identify your niche problem, that's when you go into, all right, well, this is my solution. This is my solution product. This is my solution service out there. And that's element number 2 of the blueprint. So for instance, I'll use Heights Apparel as my example, right? I saw that there was a need. There was a problem. Tall guys that are not big and tall, so tall, skinny dudes like myself, or slim or average size guys, 6'3" to 7 foot plus. We can't find clothes in the particular style that a lot of guys like. Surf inspired, beach inspired, street inspired, casual wear, right? So that was my niche problem. My solution to the product is I'm going to create
How tall are you, for the record?
I'm 6'7".
It's crazy.
Yeah. So and I
want to meet my friend Albie, who's 6'7". I want to picture the two of you guys together. Did you guys actually ever talk? I think I introduced the two of you.
I've met Albie when I was producing stuff for Isogenics back in like 2 or 3 years ago.
Is it weird to look eye to eye with somebody? Because he's 6'7" too.
Well, it's funny because you forget what it's like, because your interactions with guys that you're eye level with are not common. I mean, it was less common. Like back in my day when I was as an athlete, I was surrounded by guys.
You're a volleyball player, so you've got lots of tall people around you.
Yeah. So I was used to it then, but now I'm not. It's a little weird when you're around other tall guys that you can look eye to eye with. So
it's weird for me because I'm pretty tall. I'm 5'8", and when I put heels on, depending upon the heel, I could be 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm not wearing heels and I'm in flats, and I'm like more regular size with smaller people, it feels weird because I'm used to being very tall. I like being tall. I realize.
And you should.
Yeah.
This is, oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to get on a soapbox for just 1 second.
Okay.
This is a quick sidebar, right? I just want to let every tall woman out there know.
Wear your dang heels.
If you want to wear heels, wear those freaking heels. I don't give a crap what all these short people think. Okay. Because no, seriously, my wife is fairly tall, right? And there's this misconception out there. It's probably been brought on by males that that if you wear heels, you're overly intimidating. And I say, F that.
Yeah,
all right?
my cousin Lisa, who is like not worried about being intimidating at all, she's 5'10". I was supposed to be 5'10". I stunted my growth, but she's
got robbed.
5'10", and she'd be the first one to tell you that if she were to wear heels, which if she wanted to, she'd be wearing them. So I hear you on that.
Right. There's
It's an interesting thing, because what it comes down to, I think, is that women are supposed to be smaller, more demure, and soft-spoken than men.
Yes. And I say F it.
And
you wear them. Who cares? Own it.
No, I mean, this is a quandrum for me all the time. And I think it's you and I have this in common too, but in a different way, right? So you're a tall, powerful man. I'm a tall, powerful woman. And we come at this from different angles. But, being a tall, powerful, in shape woman doesn't mean that I'm aggressive and and I'm a bulldozer and I'm going to hurt you and I'm going to belittle you and I'm going to, all that stuff that people think is I just find it so interesting. They find that being a bulldozer is equated with size, where some of the most gentle people I know are tall and big. And some of the biggest jerks I know, like little chihuahuas, are the biggest jerks on the planet. So size has nothing to do with it. It's an inside job. You know what I mean? Yeah. My cousin Lisa says that she put on her sister's heels once. My cousin Linda is a heel girl. Lisa, not so much. She was 6'4".
That's awesome. That's cool. Well, and that's the thing, right? It's personal preference. If you are a heel wearer and you're tall and you want to wear those heels, but sometimes you put the flats on just for the sake of other people, I say wear your damn heels. If you're not a heel,
I'm telling you, to get back to the video piece of this, if you were a heel company and you were a heel company, the problem would be, how do you create cute heels for tall women that have either the same size or smaller husbands or partners, or who are worse yet, are dating? I have girlfriends that will not date anybody. In their profile, it says, I will not date anybody this size or below, which I understand, and it's your prerogative, but I think it's kind of a real mistake to eliminate half the gene pool, because most men are 5'8" and below.
Right. I'll leave it at this. If you're tall and you want to wear the heels and you don't sometimes because for the sake of other people, wear your damn heels and own it. If it makes you comfortable, you wear it. Flats, heels, it doesn't matter. Sneakers, it doesn't matter. If you feel comfortable and you're confident when you're wearing them, then wear it.
And this is what your entire clothing line is about: is being comfortable in your clothes, comfortable in your skin, comfortable in your body. Right?
Yeah, comfort creates confidence, and that's what we need. So. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Share my little worksheet that you gave me?
Yes, let's go ahead. Let's share that. And so listen, so let me preface this with it. Okay, so this is a worksheet. This is to help you, much like with anything, with video seems like it's this large, daunting task. And that's when business owners give up on it. And it doesn't have to be. That's where this blueprint helps, because we're breaking it up into 5 core components. Okay. All you need to do is focus on one component at a time. And then at the end of it, you just string those together, and that's your video story. So
this is good, because I'm gonna zoom in on the one thing at a time on my little spreadsheet here. Dang it. Okay. So to me, problems are opportunities. So when you gave me your worksheet, I thought, how can I rephrase this in a way that's going to make it make sense to me? To me, a problem is an opportunity.
Correct.
It's probably why I've been able to get through so many problems and remain relentless and positive, because I see every problem as an opportunity.
Right. But you got to remember this. Your product or service, or in this case, the show, is your opportunity. That's your solution too. But we have to be able to identify the problem and recognize it as a problem, so you can then create that solution.
So do you want me to change this word to problem?
I would.
Okay. See, I'm so anti-problem. I can't even. It's hard for me to even type the word problem. Okay, so define the dang. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say define the dang problem.
There you go. I dig that.
Okay, that at least puts my spin on it. Dang it. Okay, so when I created Relentless Talk Radio, and to this day, Relentless Talk Radio is still about lifting up and inspiring others to be their best. So I guess if I look at it like the problem is that people don't feel lifted up and inspired.
Right. and maybe a lack of community. So I would just say, do this. And so it sounds like there's a couple of different and there can be more than one problem, and that's fine. That's fine. List out all the problems in your market, because each one of those problems is the start of a separate video.
And you know what? I have 6 of them already. We'll talk. For the purpose of this conversation, we'll leave those for another conversation. But
yeah. So what you want to do is, look, we're only focusing on one thing and one thing only at a time. Now, all of a sudden, that sense of anxiety that you have or trepidation about creating a video can subside, because all you're thinking about is one element overall right now at a time.
So, this is interesting too, because you and I are actually working on an evergreen video. So those of you that are watching this film, this episode, are going to actually see, this is actually a working session for Scottie and I.
Yeah, okay? It totally is. And I think
this is what our evergreen video for Relentless Talk Radio is going to look like. So, the problem is a lack of community for those that do not feel lifted up, inspired to become their best. Yes?
Yeah. So I've noted, sorry, I keep coughing. I noted a couple problems myself for using your what you sent me. Okay, so hear this out, and you can put these on separate lines because we could totally create separate video pieces, promos from this. Mm-hmm. So one niche problem that I noticed, or that I came up with, was a lack of authenticity with podcasts that provide tangible insight from real everyday people. I think that's a problem in the market, because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm a podcast guy. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of the podcasts that I've come across and I listen to on a regular basis they're so high level, and that I don't get a lot of great real tangible things.
I have to say, I'm really glad that you say that, because one of the reasons why I don't do a polished thing, I'm okay with the sound being off, I'm all right with the internet being spotty at times, is because I want to show people that to truly be relentless, it's flipping messy.
Yep. And
it's also, I wanted to show people be vulnerable and not be perfect on these things, because the reality is we're not perfect. Now, I don't know anybody who's perfect.
No one is.
I have a friend who waited a year to start her podcast because she wanted the podcast to be like so polished that she lost a whole year. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with waiting. Okay. But for me, I wanted to be authentically messy.
Right. And you know what people don't realize, podcasts have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
In the early days of podcasts, a lot of the comedians that I listened to, that their podcasts, that they were in it at the very beginning, they were recording the podcast on their phone. Some of them were doing them via phone.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah. In the early days of
all this extra, I mean, my lighting, which I just turned on, is a little tiny lights that you can buy in. I think I got them in Home Depot for the bottom of your shelves.
Right. So
it works perfect.
And I think that what's great about us doing this exercise live right now, is you're discovering niche problems in the market that originally you weren't aware, you weren't aware of. That's part of this exercise. And so so to everyone out there that wants to try this out, you're
watching me actually go through it read time. So what you thought lack of authenticity. We talked about lack of community too, right? So did I catch the lack of community part that you were thinking?
Yes, that's great. That's great. So I have one, and so you have 4 pillars that your Relentless brand stands on, right?
Right.
I would suggest to you, we don't have to do it right now for time's sake, but I would suggest to you, for each one of those pillars, identify a niche problem within that pillar, and that's its own video.
100%.
That's another 4 videos.
So that means I've got at least 10 videos. This is really great, because doing this exercise, if you're a small business owner, just doing the worksheet, oftentimes people will say to me, Michelle, I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, oh my God, you have a flipping ton of things to talk about. I don't care who you are. You've got something to talk about, okay? And this is good. So lack of authenticity in the podcast market and the lack of community for those that do not feel lifted up and inspired to become their best. So which one are we going to focus on for the evergreen video? I think the community one first, right?
I would say it probably, and you know what, it can be a combination of the lack of authenticity and the community aspect.
Okay,
That's
so we're gonna do an and here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because here, this is the great thing. Like I said, this is just a blueprint, right? This is a blueprint. You can then do one on one aspect, and then later on, let's combine, let's create another one, and let's combine a little bit of both elements. This is the great thing. Like, this is modular, okay? And you'll understand, and I'll get to a little bit that as we get down the line a little bit more, and I'll explain that aspect a little bit more. But let's move over to the solution that you're providing to the problem.
Okay, so I'm gonna just be funny here and put in here, offer the dang solution.
Let's keep it, all right? Let's make it
consistent,
right? Okay.
Those of you who know me know that I'm being PC for this, but you know.
All right, so let's talk about this. Okay, so this is your solution, product, service, whatever it may be. So for me, my solution product is clothing for tall guys, 6'3" to 7 foot plus. For you, okay, right? What is it for you, Relentless Talk Radio?
Inspiring interviews with leaders in the art, fashion, health, and fitness, and entrepreneurs and spaces.
Boom. Okay, and so what's great about this, right? With this entire blueprint,
and I actually would say real.
There you go. There you go.
Because I was thinking about this a lot this week. Podcasts will a lot of podcasts, not every single one, okay? They focus on the guy that's already made it, the chick that's already a rock star, right? But to me, I grew up in a small bicycle shop in Vermont. My godfather, my uncle, my cousin Lisa, who's listening in, her father was the largest employer in my hometown. He had a dressmaking company called Lindley Fashion. Mm-hmm. But my parents and my godfather, they had both had like 5 different companies under 2 different corporations and 1 mutual corporation, right? Now, they were just small town guys that went in. My uncle was Army, my dad was Air Force, okay? Yeah. They didn't come out of a grad school with like all the solution, all the education in the world. Okay, yeah. They were just people that rolled their sleeves up and got the problem solved, right? Yeah. And the problem for them was supporting their families, okay, and taking care of their kids, and in a small town in Vermont. So I believe the real heroes aren't the people that are making bazillions of dollars. Even though I eventually want to be someone who's making bazillions of dollars, okay, I will be one of those people that will be the after story, okay?
Right.
But I already feel successful in this version of my life, okay? If I don't make $1, I'm already successful. And that's really what I want to put out there, is that it's not about the pot at the end of the rainbow. It's about showing up every day authentically and putting forth your best effort to deliver the life what you are meant to deliver. You know, I mean, and you and I talk about this a lot. We meet every week on the phone, and we talk about, we both grew up in tough, for our own reasons, situations, right? Yeah. We both have clawed our way through our education and our early and mid professional experiences, and we are just not quitting until we dang win.
Exactly.
But the reality is that just by showing up, we're already winning, because so many people never show up.
Right.
They go and work at a job they hate or not. They do something that's not in alignment with what they really want to do with their life for a really flippin' long time. And then they die.
Yep.
And the reality is that being showed up and living an inspired life is the win. What happens after that is the gravy. It is not the potatoes. Okay, the potatoes is the meat. The real sustenance is actually living a life worth living.
Absolutely.
And waking up every morning and having to force your feet on the floor sometimes, and other times jumping out of bed because you're so excited because you have a mission and a purpose. It's bigger than you. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter what the mission is. That's why I don't fill in. I lift up and inspire others to discover their best, because what I'm most interested in is getting you to ask yourself the question, well, she's doing that and he's doing that. What am I doing? Let me think about that. Let me go read a book. Let me listen to this. Let me go pick up a podcast. Let me go ask my friends. Let me go try a course. Let me see. Let me go discover what is my best. I don't even know what that is. 90% of the battle, quite frankly, is discovering what your best is and then going after it relentlessly. Okay. Yep. But it took me a really long time to figure out what my best was. And so the reason why I share that part of the process and the messiness with getting from nothing to something, okay, is that's where 99.9% of the people are. They're in that, like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up place.
Right.
And then when they do kind of get a sneaking suspicion, it's scary because now, okay, wait a minute, I got to step away from that comfort zone. I don't even know. I wasn't even comfortable there. What am I stepping away from? And that whole blah, 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 blahing in your head. So that's really what I'm offering. It really isn't about, I could go into sponsorship and influencer dollars and podcast dollars and right. YouTube advertising and the membership sites that we're building and all the stuff on the back end that's going to monetize this engine. But that's not the real reason why I'm doing it.
Right. Well, that is I guess you could call it a perk of doing it, right? No, but I'm everything you just said, that entire soundbite, we need to mark that so we can use it in our promo.
yeah, it's 31.28. Okay. So like, just so we know, write that down. 31.28 is where we are.
Encapsulated the solution product being Real Talk Radio in the most passionate way that you could. And so we need to make sure that we work that into the promo.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That we put that in the evergreen video.
Yeah.
So the third thing is identifying what your unique. What is that? Where did that come from? Unique value proposition. Okay. And for me, it's my relentless following and my reputation. It's not just, here in this particular version of my life, but anybody who knows me knows that this has been me since I was a little itty bitty. Okay.
Right. So we need to flesh that out a little bit more though.
Okay. So let's flesh it out.
Let's try to think of it for the purpose of this exercise. I know that's not how you think of Real Talk Radio, but for this purpose of this exercise, because there's a lot of businesses that are tuning in, that will tune in or watch us on replay, that are products-based businesses or service-based business.
Right.
For the sake of that, think of Real Talk Radio as a product. What makes this product unique versus all the other podcasts or live stream shows that are surfacing out there? I have a couple that I jotted down.
Okay.
One, a live streamed format on Facebook. Watch anytime, anywhere. That's a unique value proposition. Because not all podcasts are live streamed. Not all of them. There's some. There's other, right? And that's fine but that's not, I still think it makes Real Talk Radio unique in the sense that you're specifically live streaming it on Facebook.
Now, okay. So, and that's interesting how that came about, actually. I started to shoot the show at an internet radio station where it was just on internet radio. And the reason why I changed was because I couldn't get the individual I was partnering with to move fast enough in the live stream for Facebook.
Gotcha.
I couldn't get the activity to happen the way I wanted it to. Okay. Right. And so I decided, wait a minute, why am I shooting it on radio first? Because I called it Relentless Talk Radio. Wait a minute, I'm not in control. Don't like that. I suck at not being in control of my personal life. Not so much. I can lose control in that area and to a certain degree, but as far as my business life, I want to have control of my product, right? So I thought, well, how about I just shoot it live and then take the recording and put it to YouTube. So the recording goes from Facebook to YouTube. YouTube.relentlesstalkradio.com is how you get there. And then from there, it's going to go to podcasts this year, as soon as I can hire an admin to help with the 258 episodes I've done so far. And then from there, I'll apply to iHeartRadio and the other internet radio stations. So I will eventually qualify again for the talk radio thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I didn't change the brand because it's moving there, and that's just part of the process, right? So live stream format on Facebook. What else did you think?
Well, you know, that can technically even be two separate things, right? So, you know, again, this is about maximizing and making it as efficient as possible and creating the most content that we can create out of this exercise, right? So you could technically, if we wanted to, do one video where the unique proposition is the live stream on Facebook aspect.
Right.
You can then make another video, same video, you're just swapping out this element with this other element that you can watch anywhere, anytime on YouTube.
Okay. So
you know what I'm saying?
this one,
you know, you got to think of this as interchangeable parts, right? And each element that you're focusing on, just list out as many as you can think of that's relevant to the product or service or business itself, right? So start high level, think of it as a whole. Then you can start, if you have multiple products, create niche problems, solution products for each specific product. So for me, I've done this exercise, and I've created one for heights overall. Then I created problem solutions, value props, use cases for my signature tall tee, because that's my core product. And then I did the same thing for my tall jeans. So you can be as broad about the business as you want, and you can be as specific about specific products or services as you want. So list those all out so you have everything down.
I love you. I just love you, because you know what you're talking about is had a multi-purpose too. And I think that, you know, when people are listening, your small business owner, you're thinking, oh my God, now I've got 13 videos. You're killing me. I can't even, I don't even have time to pee this week. You know, I'm doing my books. I'm changing the sheets. I'm taking my kids. But the reality is that when you create this video, there would be one section of the video that would be interchangeable. So you're actually not creating 3 different videos for this particular unique value proposition. You would just be swapping out one particular segment in that video. So you'd be creating an entire video based upon this entire possibility that we've discovered here, okay? And then you would be creating 3, it's kind of like when I do my thumbnails for Facebook, I grab a photograph. I just changed my cover on my my personal profile, and I put the word Relentless. But I have that same picture also saved as Replacing Ruby with the sub paragraph MichelleMicalizzi.com, right? And I also have it for Micalizzi Rides, okay, Micalizzi.com, right? So depending upon how I'm delivering that message about how I'm documenting the process of my replacing my motorcycle this year and all the great trips that I'm going on.
Right.
And Lisa Micalizzi, my cousin, is asking if you're going to be making a tall woman's line, because her inseam is 33, maybe, right? Maybe down the road we'll have a tall woman's line.
I would argue that that's a larger need than even for tall men. However, obviously I'm a tall guy, so that's where I started. That's part of my long-term game plan. Is to do that. I first need to nail the tall guy stuff first before I can.
Before you go, right? Cool.
Before I scale, but the idea is to scale into that. Yes.
Okay. So the fourth thing is number 4 is I use the word testimonial. Is that a good word for you?
So I saw that you added that. You don't have to worry about that for this, because part of the video content we're using to tell the story is going to be your interviews. So like, I wouldn't really use that for the purpose of what we're doing it for. Right. However, I will tell you because there are some bonus elements, like these 5, aside from the testimonial column that you're showing, these are the 5 core elements that you need to have in your story. Okay. These are the 5 main pieces that you need to have.
Right.
But
so in my case, everything that the entire video is, because I've hopped in, we're actually working on it right now. Our Dropbox situation didn't work out yesterday. Gosh, or like 4 weeks ago when I popped in all the videos. But what I've done for Scottie is I've gone through the 250 videos that I've done over the past 5 years, and I've picked out some higher profile people that I've not always high profile, but high inspiration people, let's say, that I've interviewed that people can relate to in each one of my 4 categories. And I've given him a time frame on when there's something that's significant. So we just noted that at 31 minutes and 20, and I love that we're supposed to be at 30, but at 31, 28 in this particular video, we defined something that we might want to repurpose later. So I've given him about 10 videos over the past 10 years. That was difficult to do because I've interviewed a lot of really amazing people.
Right.
So in my case, the entire video is a testimonial.
Right. Well,
Right?
I see.
But in your case,
yes.
If
in
you
terms
are
of creating the story. So
if
when
you're a spa, you're going to
exactly.
get some interviews of
Yes,
people that are raving
That's
fans
what that
of.
means. Yes. Yeah. If you're an HVAC company, right, you want to have some, those businesses are reliant on customer testimonials to validate and build trust with potential consumers. Right. So that's what that section is intended for. But I'm glad that we're at this point because, like I said, there are 5 main components. You got the market problem, your solution, product or service, the unique value proposition, the use cases, and then you have your call to action. Those are the 5 core elements that need to be in every story and every brand, business, small, big, whatever video, right? But there are bonus elements, okay? And so
the call to action on this one, I put to PM me afterwards. That's really not, I should have updated this. What this is just to watch. The call to action is to watch, right?
Right. So I wrote down a different call to action for you. So basically, a call to action is tune in at X, tune in on X at Y time on Facebook or watch replays on YouTube. I did that really quickly. It probably could be revised, but you get the gist of what I'm getting at there for the purpose of this.
Right, and you know what? I think that when I initially did this video, this was I was thinking about it differently, I think. But the reality is this is exactly what I meant to say, right? So
right, like as whoever, if you're going to try this exercise, list out if you filled out 5 rows of information, fill out 5 different call to actions or repeat them if you can't think of anything more clever, but just make 5 different ones. You can probably even if we do one video that's focused solely on the Facebook Live, then the call action won't include the YouTube, right? Then we do a YouTube replay version of a video. The call to action will be watch the replays on YouTube,
So I just love how this whole thing went because.
Well, one thing it has done, right, and this is evident because we're doing it together right now, is it has caused you to start thinking a little bit more outside of your box in terms of what your business is, what the show is, what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to achieve it to, that sort of thing. We skipped one element. Let's go back to the use cases though. So use cases. How are people engaged?
Well, I changed the use case as a testimonial.
I got you. So use case has to be in there because we need to show people how people need to see how the product, your solution product, is solving the problem or being used in real life. Okay. And so for me, for Heights, for instance, I'm going to show, some of my target customers are tall dads, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to show a tall dad wearing my signature tall tee, playing with his kids at the park. I'm going to show another customer segment of mine are tall guys that are active.
So what did you think Relentless Talk Radio's use would be?
So I have a couple.
I love you. I love you.
So awesome. These are very basic. Obviously we can revise offline, but a woman engaging with the live stream from her desktop at home, right?
Okay.
So like the idea of this, right, is you don't have to overthink. You don't have to overcomplicate. It's just get some basic ideas down because like it doesn't end here, right? And obviously we're going to continue. This will be in the next episode of the video lab. We're going to dive into what the next step is once you have your blueprint set. But So one of them is, a woman engaging with the live stream from her desktop at home, in the same way that Lisa has commented live on our stream here. That's what you want to show. An audience member that's actually, watching the live stream and typing comments into the comments field as she's watching. That's your shot.
So my cousin would be mortified if I were to send a camera to Vermont.
Right. So another use case I have.
It's funny. All right. So I got it. Cool.
Yeah. So like, for instance, me throw another use case I have is, say a male entrepreneur is watching on his phone while jogging on a treadmill, right? Because so that plays into your value proposition. Your value proposition is live stream format on Facebook, watch anytime, anywhere, right? So you may have two shots in this video. Well, we have one shot of a woman engaging with the live stream at home on the desktop, and then another shot is a male who's watching on his phone while jogging on a treadmill.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that you've blown this out for me. It's like amazing is that, when you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, duh, right? So I'm glad that
it's a formula.
We had this conversation online together because
hey, when I listen, I'm a 12-year editor and producer, and I more or less follow this when I'm creating, but I never had anything like this that made my mind just explode and be like, oh my gosh. It's helping. Again, this is about breaking it down into small chunks that you can just not get overwhelmed by the overview of the entire process. Break it down into small chunks, focus on that, because that helps your message. That helps you create a better story.
I just love this because what my big goal this year is to make the engine that makes everything else that I'm doing possible is increased following on all my platforms. So these 5 elements equals a conversion. A conversion for me in this particular instance is increased following on all my platforms. My goal this year is to have 20,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Right.
And I have the numbers written down for Facebook, but I think 15,000 or more on following for my, I have to look at my numbers again, but it's funny. It's interesting testimonial for myself is that I know what my numbers are on YouTube, but I haven't made a number for Facebook that I remember. So I would say 20,000 on both.
Right. Why not? Go for it.
Facebook, right. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I want to break into TikTok, but I'm focused right now on my main platform, which is Facebook, my secondary platform, which is Instagram, and my tertiary platform, which is LinkedIn.
Right.
Right. So my main focus is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. As soon as I get those moving to the point that I will be able to focus on TikTok. So Richard Morris is asking, is there a link for the spreadsheet? Richard, funny you should ask. There will be, actually. Yes. Scottie and I and Brandy Lawson and Jillian Millen are working on a membership-based site called Go Digital Faster. And it'll be a super low entry point, and it'll give you an opportunity to have all the worksheets that are available on all 3 of the special segments that I'm doing that are focusing on video, photography, and digital platforms generally. So yes, Richard, I will add you to the email list if you want. You can PM me and I'll add you to the email list. And as soon as we have the platform built, you'll be one of the first people that will be notified that all the worksheets will be available.
Yeah, and thanks for commenting, Richard. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks so much. And Richard actually is a Man of the Year candidate for the
that's right.
Lymphoma Society.
Yeah.
So if you want to support Richard at LLS, you can just go to mwoy.org, search for Phoenix, and give Richard some money because we are trying to end blood cancer. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good cause too.
So he's a rock star. His father-in-law had I think it was leukemia, if my memory serves me correctly. And then he's gone on to both he and his wife have gone on to raise a lot of money for LLS, which is a great organization.
That's great.
So Scottie, I think we touched on all things today. We totally went over our time frame.
Before we go, I know we went over, but I want to make sure we hit on these other little extra elements that.
Okay.
So like, again, I said that the main find we covered here, there's a 5. Those are must-haves. You got to have those in to have a complete story. Okay. But there are some additional, and these will vary depending on the type of business or brand that you own and the products you're trying or services you're trying to sell. But these can be inserted in as needed, right? And so one of them are customer testimonials, as we discussed.
Right.
If you're going for a brand or business overview type of video where it's broad about the why you're doing the business, there's a backstory element that you can insert in there. Okay. And the next one is an empowering or a bold statement. And I can't think of one on the fly at the moment. And then one is this element will be good for nonprofits. It's the giving back element. You know, what are you doing? We're helping communities in need by giving back by donating clothing for every purchase made. We donate the same piece of clothing, for everyone sold, right? So Tom's is a good one for that, right? So every pair of Tom's shoes purchased, I think they send a pair over to overseas to an impoverished country, right?
Well, when you do a video on the Micalizzi Gives campaign, that's a huge component.
So
obviously, Micalizzi Gives, right?
The giving back and probably the backstory elements would make their way into that. And the last one would be a third-party validation. And I mentioned this to you yesterday in our prep call. This is something you see a lot with movie trailers, right? So you have a movie trailer and they want to create validation, right? But you can't have validation unless you have a reputable source to validate that, right? So that's when you see, Newsweek calls this the film of the year, right? Stuff like that. That's a third-party validation. So these are all bonus elements that you can add in and insert into your storyline where you think it fits in. And so if you have some of those, again, this is a worksheet, list out each one. And then that way, all you're doing when you're building it out, building the single video story out, and you want to put each element together and string them out together, you're just copying and pasting things over. And boom, that's your story.
I just got so excited.
Yeah.
Because you and I and Brandy and Jillian have been meeting and talking about GoDigitalFaster.com and putting the legs on that. And right now what we're doing is we're building the email list. So if you want to be in the know about when all the worksheets are available, you can PM me. Just go ahead and PM Relentless Talk Radio or Michelle Micalizzi 13, and I will make sure you're on the email list. Or you can go to MicalizziEnterprises.com. And you can sign up for the newsletter there, okay? So Micalizzi is MICALIZZI enterprises plural.com, okay? And then also, if you're interested in meeting with Scottie and I and talking a little bit more specifically about video, we do have a free consultation that you can create an appointment to meet with Scottie and I at meetwithmic.com. That's my online calendar. And we'll let you know how we can help you out, or definitely make sure that you're on the email list for the membership-based site. We're super excited about Go Digital Faster because we're creating something, the four of us are creating something that we believe in and are focusing on our 4 skill sets.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about it. But if you want to talk with us in the meantime about where you're at with your video, where you want to go, meetwithmic.com, choose the free consultation with Scottie and Michelle option, and we will meet with you. If you go ahead and just pop in the time that works for you, then we will definitely meet with you and help you out.
Yeah.
So, Scottie, is there anything else we want to add in there before we've gone twice over our time today? But
no, I think this was a critically important topic. And again, being able to give something back to the audience that they can actually use, I think that's something that's really important to me. And I hope that anyone out there that's watching this can now take some of this information and try to put it in practice themselves today. Like we did this in less than an hour. It doesn't take that long of a time to create this, to build out your blueprint, because that's the foundation to then create more content for yourselves. So,
and I took about, I would say 45 minutes yesterday, and I brainstormed up 6 different versions. And now we have about 10 or 11 different versions that we could do. And I think the big takeaway for me, I'm right in the middle of looking at all of my projects and making sure, now that I've gotten settled into a new studio and I'm moving forward aggressively in all areas, and making sure that I'm pruning and making sure that I have my timing right in all my projects in Trello, right? So I've got so many projects going on, but it was so important for me to do for every single one of my brands, because it's going to keep me on track with what's important and what do I need to prune. The worksheet is not just about creating the right video, because it really was very helpful to me to be able to continue to streamline what I'm creating, because I'm literally creating what I'm creating real time with you guys right here on Relentless Talk Radio. My Replacing Ruby series, which I just last week, 2 days ago, created the Micalizzi Rives page. I realized I needed to create a page that was general for motorcycles. The Micalizzi Gives campaign, and making sure that I'm making those paintings and doing that work in a time frame in which I can complete and deliver the work, right? Relentless Talk Radio, Micalizzi Enterprises coaching that I'm doing with fitness professionals, Choose Healthy Change, all the different brands that I'm working on simultaneously, where my revenue is coming from, and literally what's my one thing that I'm focusing on in each one of my areas, and how do I get them to tie in a way that is going to make sense to people as they watch me on social media. That's always my challenge. My challenge is not lack of ideas. My challenge is always that I have these seemingly, to some people, separate ideas that aren't interrelated, but they all, and Scottie, you know this, they all fit together. So making decisions about what I'm going to focus on with each one of my brands, and in what order and in what energy level per each thing, this worksheet has been very helpful for me, just doing it for Relentless Talk Radio. I'm going to do it for all of my brands.
Yeah. And and I encourage anybody out there that if you are having trouble with any of the core elements, that's probably a good indication that you need to circle back about some of the foundational aspects of your business and kind of really hardcore think about some of these things. And that's what's great. That's what these exercises are for. It's for to help you to step outside of that zone that you fall into as a small business owner, and think outside of your norm, and come up with those key elements in that way. So I'm excited because
you're creating something from nothing, like you and I are. Okay, absolutely. You're creating something from nothing. Heights Apparel is a brand new something that you're in creativity mode. Micalizzi Enterprises and all of my brands and how they interrelate is a brand new thing. There is really no one that can tell me how to do this, because it's completely my own thing.
Yep. So it's nice to have these little tools and things to kind of help
pull it in,
but also create efficiencies and streamline things along the way, and makes things easier. Just remember, everyone, like, break it down to individual elements, and only focus on one thing, those things at a time, because then you string those together at the end. And we'll talk about that more in the next episode. So if you're wondering, okay, what do I do now? I have my blueprint done. What do I do now? Well, the next episode, we're going to take the blueprint and we're going to create a very, very simple storyboard where we're connecting things together. And then that's your guide to then shoot with.
I just love this whole episode, and we did it in an hour, which is cool. What the hell, right? So Scottie, I just adore you. I think you're amazing. I'm so flippin' proud of you. I just feel so dang lucky, really super duper lucky to be able to collaborate with you on this series, and you're just a stellar human being. I'm just super excited. I can't wait to be on the other side of our startup phase. Yeah. And you and I and your wife and our families are going to be together, and we're going to just celebrate. I
yeah.
see. We're gonna be at a beach somewhere, I think.
Yeah, Hawaii, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, Scottie, have a good rest of your day. All right, everybody,
Thank
so come
you.
on back here again in 2 weeks for the video lab. We are here on the 1st and 3rd Thursdays. Am I right? It's 1st and 3rd, right?
Oh,
No, it's 2nd
date.
and 4th.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
let
know.
me take a look at my own. Sad.
I don't know.
2nd and 4th. Oh my God.
Oh, there we go.
We have to.
I
We're
probably should
24,
know. Yeah.
and Brandy is 1-3.
Okay.
Okay, so you and I are
I probably should know
24.
that.
So we're 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month. There we go. We're gonna just.
I have my shit together. I promise.
It's 7 o'clock. We shoot for half an hour, but you know.
Yes, well, the topic dictates that, definitely. This was an important and a high value topic, so we went over. So,
all right.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day, everybody. Take care.
Bye.